So the question isn't whether Scream 3 is bad. The question is, how bad is it? Scream 3 stars Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, and is directed by Wes Craven. What's up, guys? I'm so happy to be getting back on the Scream reviews. These are fun. This is the I guess you could call it the bump in the road, because Scream 3 really is the bump in the road. It has quite a few problems. But anyway, let's get into this.
If you find yourself dealing with an unexpected backstory and a preponderance of exposition, then the sequel rules do not apply, because you are not dealing with a sequel. You are dealing with the concluding chapter of a trilogy.
So in Scream 3, they are filming Stab 3. Stab 3 is really telling the story of the first Scream, Sidney Prescott. Early in the movie, we find out that a couple of the actors are actually getting killed. And so eventually they shut down production on the movie, but the killer is not shutting down production on the killings. And also there's this big mystery of Sidney Prescott's mom, and there's some new revelations that we never knew of in the previous movies. And that all comes full circle in the third act. So if you pay attention to the time between the movies, Scream 2 came out the year after the first Scream. Scream 3 was actually a 3-year gap, and there's a couple reasons for that. The first reason was Kevin Williamson. Kevin Williamson, as you know, is the screenwriter. And at this time, he had so many projects on his plate that he really couldn't fully commit to Scream 3. So they had to go to external writers for this movie, and that is part of the problem with this movie. Not to say that these guys are bad screenwriters, but Kevin Williamson was Scream. He lived, he breathed that story, and he is sorely missed in this movie. Also, when this movie was being produced, this was right around the time that the Columbine shootings happened. So studios were very leery about making slasher films, extremely dark, extremely brutal. And so if you watch Scream 3, you'll notice that there is kind of a lighter tone to it. Every horror movie that was lucky enough to even be released around that time, they had to tread really lightly with the content. Because let's face it too, the climate of movie-going audiences at that time, much like 9/11, was, I don't really want to go see something that's this dark, that's this heavy. But the problem with that is, years later, decades later, when you look back at these movies, oftentimes you forget, the period of time that they were shot. All you remember is the movie itself, and the movie usually suffers. So as you can see, Scream 3 had a lot going against it. But let's start out with the good, because there are a few things that I do like about this movie. First off, I'll go ahead and say it, Neve Campbell. Neve Campbell really, to me, saves this movie. And she's not even in the movie as much as the first two movies. If you watch the movie, you'll notice that like the first, I'd say, third of the movie, maybe even half, Sidney's not really present that much. And that's because she had other projects that she was doing at the time. Luckily, the amount of time that she is in the movie, she's awesome. And she really delivers in the last act of the movie, I think. But it's still the worst third act out of all the Scream movies. Also, I did like Patrick Dempsey in this role. Really, I thought he was the only extra character in the movie that was somewhat interesting, that had, a little bit of depth to him, and that had you curious. I'm not gonna lie, there were quite a few times in the movie where I thought, maybe he could be the killer. Okay, that's about it for the good for Scream 3. I just watched this movie again and I forgot how bad it is. So let's go ahead and break down the bad of this movie. First off, the characters. All the extra characters in this movie are just worthless, they're wasted, they're uninteresting. I could really give two craps about any of them. And really, they're discount versions of the main cast, literally. They actually play actor versions of the main characters. And we really don't get a chance to build their characters at all. So when they die, you could give two shits. They are just horrible. Also, I thought the plot was really convoluted, and ultimately the ending of this movie didn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, I understood where they were going, but the motivations for the killer were pretty far-fetched. Also, quick little anecdote, did you know that the house they filmed Scream 3 in is also the house from H2O? Just thought you guys would get a kick out of that. There were many times when I was watching Scream 3 that it felt like I was watching an episode of Scooby-Doo, to be honest. I think the whole whodunit plot got so carried away that they kind of just lost themselves. I think in the first two movies, you could really buy the intentions of the killers. Even though they might have been far-fetched, they were still interesting. Whereas in this one, it felt like the screenwriters didn't really know what to do, and they just kind of threw this whole ham-fisted plot in at the last minute. And really, this is the only Scream movie I thought where the killer was pretty damn predictable. And one thing that really bugs me to pieces about Scream 3 are the kills. The kills in this movie are just really lifeless, devoid of anything interesting whatsoever. It's like all the creativity in, awesome slasher kills was just completely forgotten in Scream 3. I mean, the least they could have done was kill Zach versus the Blue-Ray Mountain, but they didn't even do that. Wait, what did I just say? Where in the hell am I getting this stuff from? Back to the review, Lee. Anyway, so in the end, guys, I'm gonna give Scream 3 a 2 hours lost. It's not really a Scream movie that I want to revisit that often. If I'm in the mood for doing, a Scream marathon, then sure, I'll throw it on. But overall, it's so forgettable and just so preposterous that I really don't enjoy it that much. What are your thoughts on Scream 3? Looking forward to hearing them. And I'm really looking forward to Scream 4. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to Drumdums. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. And Drumdum out.
Your mommy and daddy, they've got the same